Hello, everyone, and welcome to the series On the Record. I know I have multiple podcasts. The crypto scam is going to come back, but for now, uh, the On the Record series is where I bring you interviews with some interesting people. Some of them happen to be scammers in the past. Some of them were just interesting. And today is one of those interesting interviews. As you know, I don't interview people very often. And the gentleman sitting right next to me, his name is Venzen Khaosan. And how's that cigarette, man? You make your own, man. I've never seen that before. It's very interesting.
I roll them from palm leaf. They're good. Yeah.
It's very good. How's the audio, guys? I hope everything is good. Let me just check on that before we go on talking for an hour with the sunset. No, it's not John McAfee, guys. Close though. Close.
They're thinking about the beard, right?
All right, so it looks like the sound's good. We are on two different mics. Yeah, so we're going to talk about price and trading, but I don't even know how to begin, how to introduce you. Let me just tell you guys a story. Let me tell you how I know of Venzen. So when I spoke at my first conference in March of 2014, was it March? No, I think it was May of 2014, somewhere in that area. I was approached by Cointelegraph, who were at the conference. They were just launching, and they wanted me to start writing economics and trading on Cointelegraph. So I've never written a single article before. I've only written two articles for my blog. Neither of them had to do with trading. So I was curious who else in the crypto space was writing about technical analysis and trading. And I only found three people of any kind of competency when it came to being a trader and being a technical analyst. One of them was Stuart de Meester, who doesn't really write much about trading. Another one was a man by the name of Adam Wyatt of Bull Bear Analytics, which is a paid-for blog. You're familiar with them, right?
Yeah.
I glanced at some of their work, and I basically said, hey, these guys are actually kind of competent in what they're doing. And the third person was Venzen, who at the time was writing for Crypto Coins News, also known as CCN. And you were pumping those articles out almost daily at the time, right?
I was doing one a day for 2 years, if I remember. Yeah.
That's insane, because I was writing for Cointelegraph once a week, and that was a royal pain in the ass.
Yeah, I remember your Cointelegraph articles had a kind of cartoon look to them, and you were the man in the picture,
right?
Which I only realized now when you pointed it out.
That was me.
Yeah.
But you saw the articles back then.
I saw them back then.
Right.
Yeah, that picture is kind of famous. Right. That was their analysis picture.
I know. I really miss those because no, you know what? I'm gonna move the camera up.
Do it.
I like it better. When the sun starts to set, there'll be better scenery in the background here. All right, there you go. You got a little more bust now.
Looks good.
All right. Yeah, we got the sunset behind us. So I mean, when I was writing a Cointelegraph back in the 2014 days, people were used to bring up your analysis to me. I'm sure people might have been mentioning my analysis to you at the time.
Yeah, you know, in the discuss, I don't know if Cointelegraph had a discuss comment section below.
They did.
Yeah. I might say something and people say, you're just copying Tone Vase. Yeah, so
the thing is, you weren't, because I saw your work before I started.
Yeah.
So I knew you knew what you were doing. There was absolutely no reason for you to ever look at my work.
No, but the irony is, and we'll get into that later, I guess, is that our analysis had been like foot on foot, climbing the same rung, saying the same things for years. Yeah.
All right. Because like the lighting in the background as the sun sets, I have the sunset a little more, so perfect time to do some screen share. So let me just show you like Venzen's history. Yeah. And when I was going through Thailand, actually about what, 6 months ago, 9 months ago, you reached out to me.
Yeah.
And we haven't spoken before that. So you reached out to me like 6 months ago, and you weren't sure I knew who you were.
Yeah. Yeah. I had to prod you and say, this is so and so from CCN. You might remember me. And you were just mentioning the blockchain cruise at that time. So I was like, if you're coming to Thailand, I've got to meet my peer. Yeah.
Yeah. So Venzen invited me over here for a few days for us to catch up and talk some trading, go over the markets. So this was actually pretty cool. Yeah, so when he hit me up, I'm like, oh, wait, I recognize that name. And I went and double checked with the spelling and everything. Yeah, that is the guy from CCN from back in the day. All right, so let me go to screen share here. And we'll talk about the price. You'll get Ven's view on the price as well. So I'm going to start off with the mempool. I'm not going to pimp my website or my trading seminars or anything like that. You guys seen enough of that. Mempool is looking beautiful. Once again, you can send your transactions on the Doty cheap. Probably send them with like 20, 30 Satoshis per byte, and they will go through fairly quickly. The transaction size, we're up at almost 5,000 transactions in the mempool. But again, right, your average transaction fee is 16 Satoshis per byte. So sending them at 25, 30 Satoshis per byte will do really well. Earlier today, I showed you a good article about setting up a Lightning node. That's in, I think that's still in my video description, actually. This right here, so Venzen, this is your website.
This is my website,
yeah.
Cryptocurrency.
So there it is, Cryptocurrency. So I was wondering what happened to your work. So you've stopped writing technical analysis from CCN, and from my understanding, you grew enough following that you wanted to kind of lay low. You didn't want to be, up on the front lines much anymore, and you wanted to be a little more laid back. You had enough of a following, and you started your own small group of subscription traders that listen to your calls and follow your work.
That's right. Through my work at CCN, in fact, while I was still writing there at the beginning of 2015, I believe, the owner of CCN said to me, how about we do a subscription website? And in this way, you can have productive discussion around price without all of the trolls that come to the discuss section at the end of every article, right? Where there was a lot of trolling in Bitcoin at that time, 2015, 2014, 2015. So he started a website called xbt.social. And a lot of people who came to CCN ended up subscribing there. And with time, the payment structure changed, and he only wanted to pay in fiat. He wanted to pay via PayPal or such like. And I, like you, surely it was your motivation when you wrote for Cointelegraph. You want to be paid in Bitcoin, right?
Of course, yeah.
So I went and made my own website. I tried to keep it as lo-fi as possible, nothing fancy, no JavaScript, no anything, a bare bones website based on WordPress with Bitcoin subscription. And a lot of the followers of subscribers migrated. And that's been running since late 2016 and late 2015, actually. And most of the original subscribers are still there. So I must be doing something right?
So I had something a little different at Cointelegraph. We want to get to the market, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. So the original payment structure of Cointelegraph was they paid you per size of the article. And my articles on technical analysis were, they were kind of lengthy, but I wasn't writing it for the money. Like at the time, I had a 6-figure job from Wall Street.
Right.
So do I really care if this article pays me $50 or $100, right? It takes me all day to write the article, right? Like the entire Saturday, like I'm a terrible writer. So I didn't care. But then they changed the structure to paying you how popular the article is. And I have no time to promote my articles. I write the article, I give it to them, they edit it, they publish it, that's it. I may tweet it out, right?
Yeah.
That's it. And it's analysis articles. So like short articles about, oh my God, news is breaking, Overstock accepts Bitcoin.
Yeah.
This little blurb gets all of this hype on social media.
Yeah, and gets all the hits.
It gets all the hits.
Yeah.
And I got really frustrated when articles that took absolutely no time at all to write were getting 3 times more money. than my articles, and it wasn't even about the money. It was about the principle of it, right?
It was about the principle. You want to do good analysis, and you're right until you're done, right? Until
Right.
You've said you made your
Right.
point. Yeah. So yeah, that is frustrating, and the incentive, when the incentive is doesn't measure to the effort that you're putting in, you feel that there is something wrong, right? So you have no incentive to write.
And the other thing is, and I tried subscription services once when I left Cointelegraph to Brave New Coin. We did like an analysis report for subscription, but it didn't work out very well. Like, it didn't work for me. Like, I'm not a fan of subscription services, which is why your client base is very, very different than my client base. And
indeed, yeah.
I normally never ever recommend subscription services, so I'm not actually going to start now. However, over like the last 3 years that I'm familiar with your work, and although we've talked about the markets, this man's knowledge of not only the Bitcoin space, but trading in general, and we're going to talk about that. So just want to point out that you do write, you know what, we'll get to that in a minute. I also want to point out your older work. So this is, wait, I had a link to like all of your articles. It's in my video description. So there's a link to all of Venzen's articles in my video description. And I went to look for a couple of articles. This is back when just before I started writing. This is May of 2014. This is one of your articles. The price decline targets below $400. Wow.
Yeah, I remember that.
The good old days.
Yeah.
And you can take a look at some of his charts. And by the way, it was actually your article that got me onto TradingView. Because when I was about to start writing a Cointelegraph, I was thinking to myself, how the hell am I going to chart it? Am I really going to use CoinMarketCap to do technical analysis? And I started looking around, and it was your articles, and I'm like, where the hell did this guy get the charting software to do Bitcoin?
And it was brilliant at the time, right?
Oh,
nobody
it was
really
amazing.
knew about it. Yeah,
it was amazing. So and you only started writing at CCN about 3 or 4 months before I started writing at Cointelegraph.
Yeah.
So it was thanks to your articles that I discovered TradingView, which made it so much easier for me to start writing at Cointelegraph.
That's great. That's great. By the way, that TradingView was recommended to me by a female Bitcoin trader back in 2013.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know. Wow.
I was like,
let me not say something that's going to get me in a lot of trouble with the females.
Yeah, don't say it. So I asked her on a different forum, on a Forex forum. I said, yeah, we're talking about Bitcoin.
Oh, wow.
price.
They got like big ants here too.
They're big ants.
Do these things bite?
They do.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Got it. So she said, TradingView, it's for free. Go have a look. And I was just amazed. I mean, I'd never seen, not even in the professional platforms.
Oh, wait, I'm not sharing screen. Shit, always do that. Boy.
In the professional platforms I'd used before then to trade traditional stocks and options, I'd not seen charting software like that.
Right. No, it was great. It was it was really great. It really, like, it probably started my career. If it wasn't for TradingView, I'd probably have no career in Bitcoin right now. If it wasn't for TradingView, which is why I pimped the TradingView affiliate code, and why again, if it wasn't for them, I don't know what I'd be doing right now. Probably still working on Wall Street. So here's one of his older articles from 2014. Go have a look and judge for yourself. There's a link to all of his articles if you have a year to spend. I remember this trend line break back in 2014, just as I started writing. That was big, and I even talk about it sometimes. I talk about it in my trading seminars when I teach trend lines. This is the trend line that I also talk about in my trading when we broke this trend line coming out of this triangle.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is some of his older work. And I also want to point you to an article that Venzen wrote back in 2015, block size, Bitcoin does not scale effectively. So you wrote an article, I guess, Bitcoin XT is.
Right in the middle of that debate, when Mike Hearn and Gavin Andreessen were still on the developers list, there was no development happening. All that was happening for months on end of 2015, argument about scaling. And I gathered what I could from that debate. I participated with some strong words as well, but basically summarized everything I had learned why Bitcoin does not scale effectively and why a layered solution was the future. And I wrote this up, and I was so fortunate that I think my summary, I don't know how Adam Back got hold of the article, but he really brought me a lot of support and endorsement by saying this, you know.
Yeah. So Adam Back tweeted out that this is like one of the best articles that he's read when it comes to the block size debate.
Yeah.
And this was back in 2015. Now, at the time, I'm going to go to my website for a second. Now, at the time, Bitcoin XT, I was also in crazy debates over this. And I think this is the one from August.
Right.
Bitcoin, these are my...
oh, same time, you see.
Yeah, so this is my big argument with Ernie Hancock of Freedom's Phoenix. So you can go back. This was a huge debate that we had. It was 2.5 hours. I was trying to explain to Ernie like how terrible Bitcoin XT was. And this is, I guess, the World Crypto Network Bitcoin group from around that time. So I was against XT, and I went off on Mike Hearn as well. Oh, this is also one of my most popular articles. Will escorts take Bitcoin adoption to the next level? Wrote that in 2015.
So did they?
I believe that they did with Backpage. Though in Thailand, they clearly don't need Bitcoin.
There might be some. I don't know. I don't know. So incidentally, this period here, I think it was in 2016 when you began speaking on the World Crypto Network, right? But you were not.
These this is 2015. Jesus Christ, I really am starting to get attacked by ants. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, this was back in 2015. Bitcoin XT was Bitcoin Classic was later.
That's right.
Bitcoin Classic came around in early 2016.
Yeah.
But Bitcoin XT was in 2015. Man, those were troubling days, guys. We're doing pretty good now.
We're doing good, you know. And as soon I remember, as soon as Mike Hearn and Gavin Andreessen left because of various things happening.
Well, they pretty much got kicked out for incompetence.
Hearn rage quit, and Andreessen got his commit rights revoked, right, on GitHub.
Yeah.
And from that moment on, I was still following the developers list, wanting to box, you know, wanting to talk about scaling, wanting to throw my weight behind the core developers. And the development started immediately. They became productive. All the progress to where we are today began as soon as Andreessen and Hearn
left. Of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Garzik also needed to be eliminated. But yeah, these guys were holding back development in forever because they keep wanting to hard fork, which was going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Plug that in. Start charging. Perfect. Okay. So we're back on camera. Oh, you know what? Nope, we're gonna go back to screen share, guys. Sun isn't down enough yet anyway, so we're good. Let's talk about the macro view. So it was really interesting. Right before we were setting this up, I'm on Venzen's website, and I mean, in order to see the daily analysis, of course, you have to pay a subscription fee. But I didn't click on MA method metrics.
You can click on it, and
we'll click on it in a minute. But I clicked on long-term analysis, and the first thing I said to him, like, hey, you realize you haven't written one since November. And I clicked on it to take a look what it was. And in November, we were pushing the 5,000 range. And your answer to, and look at this. Wow. So this was written when? This is written in November, right?
In November, yeah.
So in November, you're talking about 7,500 being a top, right?
Yeah, being a target and being the top.
Right.
And then I said, should go down to 5,000 range,
That's
right?
exactly what I was saying on mine.
Yeah.
Completely independently, by the way, because I don't really, like I said, I don't have time to look at others, and Venzen is a pretty competent analyst on his own. So your answer to me was, and when I said, hey, you know, you haven't written one of these since November, and what exactly did you say an hour ago?
Well, yeah, when we looked at this chart, and you said, why didn't you write? And my response was, you know, since November, I've lost confidence to predict price. because when it hit 7,500, something went wrong. The first thing that went wrong was that the correction did not come into the fib retracement zone where it should have gone. Now that knocked us out of trades. Number one, me and my subscribers hit target to the downside. Then you remember Wham a few hours ago, we were here in the Andaman Sea, and Tone and me were saying 10,000 melted like butter. That was a major
to the upside. To the upside. Yeah.
It didn't make, so after 7,500, the downside target was not met at 5,000 or 5,300, and then price ran up through 10,000 like it wasn't even there. A major psychological level. And since then I've been, whoa, I've got to wait. Something is going to change or something. I was just feeling out of sync with the market, and I just watched in horror as it kept going higher.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so just like me, you've been having difficulties in predicting the market up until recently. I think now we're starting to get back into the zone where analysts like us, the traditional analysts, are able to kind of predict it, but the volatility is still pretty high.
The volatility is very high. It has not died down. We're still doing $1,000 days, and some days of $1,000. Remember after the 2013 run-up, people were saying they missed the opportunity of a lifetime because no other asset has ever climbed $1,000 in, right? Now Bitcoin is doing it $1,000 some days, you know. So that's volatile. That's highly volatile.
Right. So this was your last run, and you're using linear charts instead of logarithmic. Do you want to explain why?
Tone, my reasoning, there are two reasons. The first is that to get a sense of scale, the logarithmic chart distorts. The higher price goes, you tend to think that these are just small price movements, right? So an arithmetic chart gives you a sense of scale, of true scale. The other thing is that to do these fib extensions that are showing there, you want to compare it to the last major bump. As you see in the middle of that chart there, the price went to a fib number 13 and then corrected downwards for a year, right? We've just hit a fib number 34 or 55,
see,
I believe.
I actually don't use this method. I'm not too familiar with it. So can you explain the fib numbers? Because you're actually using the Fibonacci numbers, though 34 is not exactly a prime number. Oh, it's a Fibonacci number.
It's a Fibonacci, yeah, it's in the series.
So why are you using this particular method? So each step is incrementally higher.
Yes, each of those numbers are in the Fibonacci series of numbers, right? And we know from years of trading that fib retracements and fib extensions manifest like clockwork. We see them in the chart. You can bet that a correction is going to go to a 0.618 retracement. You can bet on that and make money. So how this works is that you're measuring the potential upside targets from an initial wave of advance.
So that's fine. So over here.
Yeah. So you're using that as your number one. That is your calibration. And then you extend upwards according to that number one distance. To 3, to 5, to 8, to 13, and so forth. And there we have it, right? So
gotcha.
Price has consistently hit those, and me and my website subscribers have been trading to those targets. But beyond number 21 on this recent run-up, it had been crazy. It had just been too crazy. I'd never expected that in my life.
Right. Well, these are your old charts, and you're a big fan of moving averages as well, right? Do you want to talk about that? How you trade the moving averages?
give one a sense of momentum, right, and participation. So everyone is familiar with the 200-day moving average. In this particular chart, it's the red MA. It doesn't matter about what time frame we're at because the chart is fractal at every time frame. When price is above the 200 period moving average, and all the other MAs are above the 200 period moving average, you know that you're in an uptrend, right? And when all of them, and when the major moving averages cross below the 200 period moving average, you know you're in a decline. Now there is no decline on this chart. There's only a correction in the middle there, because Bitcoin has not done decline for 3 years, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we've been in an uptrend since mid 2015.
Yeah. Averages. You really want to trade the crossovers. You look at the relation of price, of the position of price in relation to the 200 period moving average. Then you've got a sense of trend, right? And you can see that your corrections in that blue channel there tend to fall back to the 100 period moving average, the orange line.
And you do a couple of other things that I am not too familiar with. So you're a big fan of the MACD, and you even have a Bollinger Band around your MACD. So why don't you tell my audience how is that useful for your trading?
Okay. Can I preface the discussion by asking you whether you ever found Bollinger Bands useful on price?
I never have.
And I have to echo, I've never found Bollinger Band useful in my trading method to predict price or to enter trades. However, when I was studying MACD, an old man, an accomplished trader and technical analyst in my home country of South Africa, called Clive Roffey, had pointed out to me that Bollinger Bands are useful when you put them on an indicator, in his experience. And although much of MACD is not visible because of the acceleration of trend, the right-hand portion of the chart shows you that price tends to target its Bollinger Band, right? Especially on the declines. You can bet that when it touches that Bollinger Band or MACD 0, you're going to be at the end of the correction. So that is why Bollinger is useful on a MACD, and MACD itself is very useful because, of course, MACD stands for moving average decompression and compression. And so because my method is heavy on moving averages, MACD is very useful, very useful.
Now that's the RSI, but the other one here, you're using the stochastic, but that's not the normal stochastic that I'm familiar with.
Right, that's not a normal stochastic, but that is the stochastic formula which is applied to a moving average, a MACD indicator once again. That you see that there are three stochastic lines, and
yes,
each one is a faster and a slower and a medium-paced MACD. And then I stochasticize those to exaggerate the direction of trend. So when it slams down, you can know that there is a correction coming.
Gotcha, I see.
You see.
So, so what is this chart?
This chart, this is quite unusual. I've seen some brilliant analysis done by a man called somebody Armstrong. I can't
Martin
remember.
Armstrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually a big fan of his work as well. That's the first time his name has been brought up because we have not discussed it.
We have not discussed him.
No, because like I am so disappointed in myself. I have not been able to read any of his work in the last 6 months because I've been so busy. I've attended several of his conferences.
Really?
Actually. The last one in Hong Kong that he did about 6 months ago, and the one in 2015, the one that he did in New Jersey.
Right.
So I've spoken to him personally. I've been trying to get him and the CEO of his company to understand Bitcoin, but I think I've given up.
I recently saw some analysis. A website member pointed me to it, that he has done some analysis on Bitcoin, and he predicts a large decline going forward. What this particular chart is not based on his analysis. It's my own kind of analysis based on using TradingView's moon phase indicator. You can see new moon, the dark moon at the top.
Oh, those are moons.
Yes, and full moon at the bottom. And what we find is that price tends to decline into a full moon, right? Not on the exact date, but a day or two around there.
Didn't really do it in the first one I looked at, but other than that, yeah, I can kind of see that.
There is an example, the third last new moon, the full moon, where there is no decline.
So this is the full moon, or this is the full moon?
No, that's
the new moon. Okay.
Yes.
So that's the full moon down here.
And you can see there is no downward reaction. So there's no correction. So it's not a clockwork thing. You can't bet on it.
So the full moon seems to be able to bounce the price a little bit.
The full moon is able to attract. I explain it like this: around full moon, we find that hospitals are more full with accidents and emergencies, are more busy. The animal kingdom mates. Dogs start howling, so there is a lot of exuberance and energy around a full moon. And in trading, this often leads to an acceleration of price into the full moon and then a pullback on the full moon. Of course, during a large decline, it'll be the opposite. The market will be most aggressively selling on the full moon or buying out of sheer hope. It is never the same, but it gives us a weight of probabilities.
Interesting, and that's actually what I found interesting. So I'm not gonna, you know what? I'll look for it. So you do have a YouTube channel. I know you have about 10 videos on there, but you haven't really been posting many videos because guess what, guys? Being a blogger is not easy. He's still writing articles. Like I can't write articles every day, but I do videos almost every day. This was your YouTube channel. I guess it's been a while since you posted a video, about 7 months. But I did catch a few of these videos because you reached out to me as you had just stopped doing the videos.
Yes. And
so I glanced at a couple of your videos, and the interesting thing that I found in your videos, and this was happening around the time of the user-activated software, is that at the end of your videos, you do talk about astronomy and how the solar magnetic energy may affect the electricity grid around the world and the mining aspect of it. So I found that really, really interesting as a former geologist and studying astronomy back when I was younger. I found this aspect of analysis really, really interesting. And it turns out you also study geology as well. You have a degree in geology.
Isn't that strange? We both studied geology and moved on from science degree into economics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And drinking, which I'm actually out of. Can we get their attention?
We're gonna get it. If you call them, I will just quickly give a brief about this, which is
go ahead.
Let me, if they look, I will call them.
Yeah.
The thing is that the sun does have an effect. Solar activity doesn't have an effect on Earth as much as lunar activity has an effect on Earth. Now, a full moon, of course, means that the moon is opposite from the Earth, opposite to the Earth from the sun. That's why it's full, because we're seeing the full disk of the moon, right? And if the moon is making this effect, is participating in this effect, one can bet that the major energy is coming from the sun, because it's an electromagnetic relationship that's set up there. And hence, especially with mining and electricity grid issues, I'm starting to include solar technical analysis to my price analysis, to analyze the sun, not to only analyze Bitcoin price, because Bitcoin is electric and we will certainly see effects going forward.
Yeah, so this wasn't in your last video. So it's actually a shame you stopped making videos. I mean, I actually found this stuff incredibly interesting.
I'm glad you say that. Thank you for the compliment. I don't know how many people did, but I certainly got a lot of subscribers and still do get on YouTube. And I think it's based on this, because it's not based on the analysis, which is old by now. This was an earthquake that I had predicted based on solar activity and that weather system that was just showing there.
Yeah, Mark Armstrong talks about this a lot, how he connects,
really?
because he's big on solar activity and how it connects with earthquakes as well. Like he tracks earthquakes as well as part of his economic model.
All right.
Earthquakes and volcanoes.
We gotta look at him more, man. We'll have a discussion after. The thing with my videos, though, and I'm going to say this honestly and straightforward, I love the idea of them, and when I look back at them, I enjoy them, and I'd like to do that again every day. But even doing it once a week is just so much hard work, given that I've got a subscriber base and have to satisfy them. You, as a video blogger, I'm just like, I know how much work is involved. I had to stop doing it purely because it's a lot of work. I couldn't manage.
Right. So, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. Or you know what? Let's go back to camera here.
I think it's a good time because the sun is
yeah, sun's coming down. You know what? I don't even have the mountain. Maybe this angle will be better. Hold on.
Rather than have the sun direct glare.
There
right?
Oh yeah, this is much better. You know, I'm going to slide over here. I would love a refill, actually. How do we get their attention?
You talk to your clients, and I'll talk to the bar.
Whoa, stop. You're still mic'd up.
Got it.
All right, there you go. You can bring that back. All right, so I'm going to talk to them about how it's difficult for you to do all this because you have a client base and you're an active trader of Bitcoin. Unlike me, who travels the world, and you were saying how you literally sit in your apartment for weeks at a time and don't go anywhere. What do you do about food? Do you get it delivered? Do you cook?
Having a girlfriend that brings it to your desk really helps.
Excellent. I need one of those. All right, guys. So Venzen is going to get us another round of drinks. I don't think I have anybody doing questions. I see the live feed on my side monitor. I guess now I'm in the shadows here. All right, how do I... you know what? This might be a good time to adjust the camera here. Let me see what we can do. I want to be able to get us in focus and the scenery in focus. Oh, there we go. Let me see if this works better. Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can do something better with the camera situation.
We're still rolling live?
Yeah. The live stream doesn't end. That's actually a royal pain in the ass if the live stream gets cut off. Let's see. See what's going on here. There we go. Kinda, sorta. There you go. You got a little both things right now. You can slide this back a little. There we go. All right. Nope, back in the shadows again. No.
It's fine.
You want to slide over here into the camera? There we go. All right.
If I lean back, I think it's the reflection from my shirt.
Hello.
Glad you're on
How are you?
tonight.
Yeah, we're on time. Would you like to say hi to a live studio, to a live audience on YouTube? We got about 500 live viewers right now, talking about markets and geology and solar flares at this point.
Solar flares this evening?
Not today, in general.
Talking about them this evening, happening some other day.
Yeah. Well, are we going to also have, I think our moon is going to be, what, 1 week?
Yeah, when is the full moon coming?
Full moon?
Yeah.
1 week?
1 week?
Oh, no, the price might go down.
All right, speaking of price.
All right.
We should pull up price. So we'll be at the bar in a second. Join you guys. All right, so price or trading? Okay, so let's talk about trading, right? So one of the reasons why you can't like do YouTube videos all the time, nor would you, I mean, would you? I mean, you're here on vacation. You went away from home. You are what?
Right now, yeah.
See, I'm on the other side of the world, but he's about 30 minutes.
Yeah. So what are you saying? Like the fact of doing a video, right? You're not trading. All
Right.
that time that you're recording and maybe editing, and you're not trading, and a lot of trades get missed at the moments when you are most busy.
Oh, of course.
Doing other things, right?
Right. You were just saying today, your mom called you, and she always calls it the worst possible time.
Whenever my mom calls, yeah, it was either time to get in or get out. Yeah.
Right, because that's the life of a trader, right? The life of a trader is you don't want to be bothered. You have a very understanding girlfriend that understands when you sit in front of a computer that you can literally sit there like 18 hours straight.
You can do that. You cannot have a life.
And the thing is,
you're dedicated to that seat and that market until you do something useful, right?
and you're not even a day trader. When was the last time you gave your followers a trade to follow?
A trade to get in was about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
2 or 3 weeks ago was the last time you informed your followers to make a trade. Was it a long trade or a short trade?
It was a short trade.
It was a short trade.
Yeah.
All right, excellent.
And right now we're pending another short trade. It could activate tonight or tomorrow, I guess.
So you're setting up for a short trade right now.
Yeah.
I gotcha. So actually, I was gonna pull up one more thing off of your website. I'm gonna do another screen share here. We got a few minutes before the sunset. So on your website, on the, was it on the homepage? I think it was on the homepage.
What are you looking for?
Your calls, you make them public, correct?
My calls
after the fact.
I make them, they are public after the fact. I record every single trade while it's recorded by the website. So if I say this was the opening price and this was the closing price, it will calculate the metrics. And they are published on those trade metrics, on that trade metrics page. These recent trades
they were all
public.
Short. You were on a sell. You were on a short trade. The last, your last 4 trades were all short.
They were all short, and notice that some of them had 0 profit.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you break even. You know, that's
so what I don't.
And sometimes you lose.
So it's very interesting. So you are looking at we're looking at his last 7 trades, and I don't see a single negative number for return.
You know what? I will admit to the world that I exclude the losing trades because that does not sell my service when people land on this page. But there are at least 2 losing trades in there.
Well, that's kind of interesting.
and when you lose, you don't break the bank. You lose a portion of your account according to your stop loss, and our stop losses are defined.
I have to disagree with that method. I would have those trades in there. It's hard to do that. That's a little tricky. I have to admit, Venzen.
This being front page, can you perhaps go to the trade metrics page from the menu there? Thank you very much, Carl. If we go to the trade...
We got our drinks.
Tony, if you could navigate your...
So where am I going?
To the top navigation bar and click on the methods 2017.
2017 methods.
Yes. All of the trades, including the losers, are listed here. And you can see right here that in that year we had 24 winners and 6 losers.
Gotcha.
Right. So that is public, and they are shown on the right-hand side of the page as a winner or a loser.
Okay.
Right.
And your success rate of winning trades to losing trades, you said it was about 75 to 25%, right? So it's about 3/4 of the trades are winning trades.
Yes, more than 50%, and I think 7 to 3. 7 to 3, 7 winners to 3 losers, which is a good.
And your losers are significantly, like, they're not big losers. You keep your losses very small.
Yes, well, in the sense that we're taking the trades with the highest probability. So we don't trade a lot. We're not taking a trade every day. We're taking a trade once a week or once a month sometimes. And I teach on my website, I teach money management and risk management so that my traders get in and in certain circumstances get out very quickly. Not allowed to compound or run. We never sit in a losing trade hoping and praying that it's gonna go in our favor. You've got to cut at a certain percentage of loss. You've got to cut, and that kind of limits us to some of the trades we can take. If the average range of price is greater than the distance to the nearest support, we cannot take the trade, even though it's clearly bearish or clearly bullish. If the distance, if price's average range on that day is greater than the distance to that support, the trade is a no-go because the risk is too much.
All right. So that's exactly what I teach people on my end, but I have chosen the life of educator over the life of traders. So this is like your vacation, like these 4 to 5 days, and then it's back to sitting in front of a computer, interacting with your followers, and making sure that when a trade needs to be entered, you enter it at a perfect time.
There's a very small window. If it's in the 1 hour chart, you're looking for confirmation in the 15-minute chart. So that is 15 minutes or half an hour you've got to get into the trade, right? And if there is a lot of volatility, you've got 1 or 2 minutes to get in. So a lot of the website members miss out on trades because they happen not to be awake at the moment of entry.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is a big problem.
Which is a problem.
Especially in the 24-hour market.
I'm the guy that's missed out on a lot of trades that I wrote the setups for because I was asleep when the signal fired, right? Yeah. Yeah.
And I know, and you're here in Asia, and most of the time it moves, it's on the US side of the market.
It's in the US.
But I guess the people in the US always complain that it moves on the Asian side of the market. Right?
Yeah, depending on trend. Somebody's going to pull it the right way and somebody's going to pull against it, right? Yeah. Right. At the moment, we've got a situation where the trades tend to fire during the late US day. Which is early morning here.
Let's actually do this. I'm gonna pull up my charts for a second, but then I want you to send me like a link to your chart, and then maybe I can pull it up, and then you can walk the people through with how you look at it and what you're looking at.
I would be happy to work with your moving averages. Oh, but you don't have moving averages.
I can have moving averages, but no, because you can just text me the URL and I can pull it up.
Right.
So just shoot it over to me on Telegram, and then I'll pull it up after we go through my charts and Zen's charts. This is a first, by the way. I never ever talk, about other traders or with other traders, like as far as like their price analysis goes. But we've been on the same page with price analysis for 3 years, apparently.
Apparently. I even asked my website members at some stage, I even told them at some stage, I think that Tone Vase is subscribed to this website.
Yeah, so his followers thought I was subscribed to his work before I would do like my videos and talk about my analysis. So that's actually kind of interesting because I'm not.
Clearly not. I can confirm you're not there. Yeah, yeah. You've not. If you are there, you're not paid up.
Right.
You won't see anything.
That's all right. I get a lot of free shit these days.
Yeah. I just sent you. I sent you 2 charts. It's the second one. It's
one of the advantages of being a YouTuber. Yeah. All right. So we'll pull those up in a second. So here are my charts. So my long-term view went bearish at around as we fell below $13,000. And we're still bearish. The weekly isn't all that interesting. The daily, this morning, I was talking about this being the worst of all bull traps and how the traditional bubble chart has the lows as a bull trap, when in reality, the bull trap is here.
That's the bull trap.
Did this bull trap hurt you?
It did not. I was not expecting for price to go higher, and I'll show you now when we look at the moving averages.
Okay.
Why it did not? Yeah. Why we expected it to turn right there.
Right. So right now, I am looking at a daily chart that is bouncing between 10,000 and 12,000. And I don't know how anyone can be bullish here other than maybe into the 50-day moving average. What is your view on the current daily chart? Looking at my chart before looking to yours. Oh, shit. I'm not sharing screen again. God damn it. Here you go, guys.
Describe them again, what you just said. Okay, well, my view on it.
That was the bull trap, guys. That was the bull trap that Venzen was able to avoid. Pull it up on his chart as to how. And right now, I'm looking at this space between 10,000 and 12,000. And to me, this is just consolidating off of a dead cat bounce. I don't believe it will go higher than the prior high of 13,000. Otherwise, we can go as high as this Fibonacci line and this 50-day moving average in the vicinity of 14,500.
Right.
What is your view on the daily?
My view on the daily is exactly what you just said. This Fibonacci line, the blue line, hitting that downtrending line that connects the two tops, right?
So
where they interact.
They're interacting at the early second week of February.
Price tends to target those crosses, and it might go there. But my sense is that down here where we are at the moment, the wave, the same wave that we discussed at the beginning of this broadcast, where the low from the retracement from 7,500 was not hit at 5,000. Measured from the beginning of the wave since then, in other words, from mid-November until the high, we're exactly at the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement. So this is what the market is dealing with. Some bulls are feeling excited with the retracement is over. We've hit 0.618. It's time to buy. Others are still showing that there's no energy for buying, right?
Mm-hmm.
I cannot see energy for buying in those candles. It just looks like a mess and consolidation before we drop through 10,000 and 9,000. That's what it looks like to me.
So what is your target?
The target I would call, no surprise, is 7,500, because that is the level of the 1-day 200 period moving average. So the 200-day moving average is at 7,500. If price drops below this level, that's the only place it's going to find support.
Yeah, and I agree, but for different reasons, but which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Now, if we do go into the trend line Fibonacci cross on the second week of February at the vicinity of 14,500, that could be a little bit tricky for me, because we would be under the 50-day moving average, which I believe would come down unless we go there quickly now and kind of stay there.
Yes, I see that.
So I would, I mean, if we're lucky, actually, we're only 2 weeks away. So it's possible the 50-day moving average, because of the highs up here, could like flatten out and meet this point with the 50-day. And that would be a perfect bull trap right up in there.
Yeah. What is interesting is that the...
Oh, yeah, bug spray.
Thank you very much for the bug spray.
Oh, yeah, we need that.
I like your point about that moving average, and that if price did not advance quickly now, in other words, correct upwards quickly, we would lose the bearish momentum, and the all time frames would start to look bullish, right? Especially the 1-day chart can pull out of its current bearish sort of bias, but I don't see it happening. Fast or slowly, I don't see a retracement that far to the upside.
Well, let's take a look at the 4-hour chart now, and it's really interesting. I'm a big fan of the DeMark indicators. Were you aware of the DeMark indicators before I showed up in the space doing them more recently?
Strangely, I was, because trading BTCE in 2013, their MT4 platform for mobile phone had a Tom DeMark indicator, but I was confused because it looked like a stochastic. And I was used to the indicator that you're showing, not because I used it, but because I was team trading with some guy out in the world at Forex Factory, and we were team trading gold.
But this is way before Bitcoin.
This is way before I was into Bitcoin. This was in 2013.
Well, I wouldn't say that's way before you were into Bitcoin. That was like maybe half a year before.
Yeah, it was probably a few months before I got serious about Bitcoin trading. And we were team trading gold, and he was using this sequential, Tom DeMark sequential indicator, and he was making really good calls. So when you showed up with it in the space, I took notice because I know this indicator is reliable. A lot of Wall Street uses it. I was interested to see if it would match, if it could predict Bitcoin price, and obviously it does, because we're seeing 9s and 13s all of the time.
Right, and it's interesting. The 4 hour, as I was doing the podcast this morning, the 4 hour was hitting a 9, just as I put in this triangle on the 4 hour chart, and I pointed out that here is the last time we had a 9, and now we have another 9 that I drew this red arrow, and we've been coming down pretty much ever since this morning when I did the video.
Oh, you drew it this morning?
I drew this arrow this morning.
Well,
yeah.
there you go. You see.
And on the hourly chart, we also had a 9. So we had a 9 on the hourly at the same time as we had a 9 on the 4 hour. They pretty much came together. And I drew these red arrows down. So when we go to your charts.
Yes.
What time frames do you use to analyze the trade and then enter the trade?
I think
like you use dailies, and you use the daily to decide if you're going to go long or short, correct?
Long-term trend is indicated at weekly, right? The monthly chart is pretty useless at this time. The indicators are not saying much. Weekly for me indicates long-term trend. Since 2013, that was the case. Down from weekly, I use 1 day, like you do. 1 day is indispensable. It's the foundation of intermediate trend, right? And below that, I go to 4 hour, then 1 hour, divided in a quarter again to 15-minute charts. And then if I want to get some detail about what's happening in a price wave, I might look at 5 minute.
I gotcha. So in that case, but your decisions on whether you're going to go short or long for the next week or two, they're only based on daily and weekly. They're not going to be based on the 4 hour.
Sometimes they are, and sometimes the entry is based on
the
1
entry.
hour.
I'm not talking about the entry. I'm talking about the decision for the trade.
Can I explain it? Can I explain it to you? Can I explain a single piece of analysis to you? Maybe
well, let's
like
pull up your
this.
charts. Let's pull up your charts.
Pull up my chart and I can show you.
All right, let's try this.
It would basically be a case that if the 1 day chart is bearish, now you're seeking an entry into the bearish trend, into the downtrend. You're not going to find it at the 1 day time frame because it's already bearish, right? The signal there is already played out. Now you're seeking a more resolution to find an entry. It doesn't exist.
The first one worked.
Let's go to the first one.
This one worked.
Yeah, there's Bitstamp.
But the other one didn't like something.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a 1 hour chart.
This is a 1 hour chart, and if viewers can look in the middle of the chart, a 1D 50 period moving average, right? This one, the move from there is clearly signaled by a decompression of the moving averages.
Right here.
Yes, right there.
So that took place on 115 at 2100 New York time.
that is at the 1 hour time frame, right? So we would not enter that trade unless the next higher time frame, the 4 hour time frame, was already signaling short, was already signaling decline. This signal here in the chart is confirming a 4 hour downtrend. And we would also seek at the 15-minute time frame a similar signal, a similar decompression to confirm the 1 hour chart. So there are a lot of layers at different time frames. We do not make our decision just at one time frame. So if we saw the 1 week chart go bearish, we'd look for a 1 hour, a 1 day signal,
To go
MA
bearish.
signal to go short, yes.
Right.
And the 1 day signal must be confirmed by the next smaller time frame, the 4 hour chart, also giving a sell signal at the same time. And those are the only times we
I'm
trade.
not sharing screen again.
Those are the only times we trade. So
Sorry,
I'll
guys.
quickly run through that again because people followed what I said.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of the
Right
chart,
here. Sorry, guys.
there's a where it says 1D. You see that there is a decompression of the moving averages into that support zone, that magenta layer that you see there. That's the support zone coming from October last year or November. So, and price had respected it. So, when it happens, price declines. But we'd also want the 15-minute chart to confirm it with a similar moving average signal. And of course, this being the 1 hour chart, the next bigger time frame, the 4 hour chart, must already be bearish. And that's how we make our trading decisions.
Did you actually go short right here?
We would have gone short a little bit after because the exact crossover of the green line and the blue line,
Right there.
the 20 MA crossing below the 50 MA, is right there. So we never get in at the top of the move, at the beginning of the move. We want some confirmations to stack up, and you can see if you follow the line vertically up to MACD, the very first indicator above price, that is where MACD crosses below its zero line, right?
Right.
You can come back.
That was here.
That was there. And then we wait for that moving average crossover, and that's where we get in. So we've got multiple indicators and time frames confirming the move down.
Gotcha.
That's my approach to it. It's super conservative, it's super cautious and low risk. But that's why I guess members have stayed subscribed for 2 and 3 years, right?
Let's try that other chart. Can you try to text me the URL again? I don't know why it didn't work the first time.
The one with the fib. It's the same chart. It's the same chart. This was just Bitstamp, and that was OKX.
That's also a 60-minute chart.
Yeah, it's also a 60-minute chart. Did you want to have a look at a 4 hour or a 15-minute chart?
Well, whatever you want to show your thinking when it comes to entering a trade.
Right. Give me a minute now.
Lately I've discovered that people are having a huge struggle determining stop losses, which I don't blame them in current environment. So I've been focusing a lot more on proper stop losses,
right,
than proper entries.
I'm just going to pull up at a different time frame.
Sun's really going down. All right, at a risk of forgetting to do screen share again, I'm gonna turn off screen share.
Is there a way that you can change this chart to 4 hours?
I can't.
Right, so I've got to have my chart at the time frame.
You gotta have it saved. You gotta have it saved as 4 hours.
Okay.
Before you send it to me.
Right on. Here it comes.
All right, let's give this a shot. I'll remember the screen share this time, I promise, guys. All right, this is working. Let's get this in here. And,
that is.
Oh, wait. I'm gonna do screen share.
All right.
There we go.
That's the 4-hour chart, and the moment of decline. If you can just point to there, Tone. That
Right here?
yes.
Right there.
That is the corresponding place in the chart, in the 4-hour chart that we were just looking at.
Right.
In the
So
1-hour
again,
chart.
we're looking at January 15th around noon New York time.
Yes.
Right. So the 4-hour chart looks exactly like the 1-hour chart at the time.
At the time, and we can see that the 20 MA, the green line turns down below the 50 MA. And above that is the 100 MA, and above that is the 200 MA. So there's an alignment, there's a correct alignment, and there's a decompression.
Right today.
Yes.
Yes.
Great. And if you look at the very top of above that, on the stochastic indicator, you can see that it breaks from the very top.
Right here.
The next bump over.
I see.
This one here.
Right there.
You see there?
Yeah.
That is a very strong signal for decline, especially because it's confirmed at the 1-hour time frame, and that's how we make our trading decisions. I would like to come back to a question you asked me before. How did I know the price was going to turn down from there?
Right, from this area. This was
this
was my bull trap. Right.
This is the
so
bull
let's
trap.
talk about that, because look, here you're moving averages.
Yes.
All of your moving averages are going to the upside.
That's right.
You've just broken the prior high.
You've just broken the
you
prior
have
high.
no resistance from here to the top, and you agree there's no such thing as a double top.
There's no double top.
Right.
It's going to carry on
Right.
after that.
Agreed.
Right?
So why did you think that this area here around $17,500 on what's my dates here, around January 6th, why did you think that this was not going to 20,000?
Right, I can tell you, and it might not be a popular view or something that a lot of people understand, and I think even you might not agree with it, but here was my thinking at the time. If we look at this low, the initial decline low, Tone, how do we get that to flash? A circle?
Oh, hit the control button.
Hit the control button. That low.
Right.
Came up and did a wave there.
Yeah.
Then it came back down, did a wave to there, and then to there.
Yes.
Right. Those are 3 waves. Those are not 5 waves. It's a clear 3-wave move, right? So from my Elliott wave experience, if you see 3 waves, it's a correction, ABC, right? And the C is there. The C is there. Then it did 3 waves to the downside, from there to there.
Right.
B.
Right.
And C.
Okay.
This is a classic setup for 5 waves to follow, because the C wave we've had to the upside, then an A wave, down to the last point that I signaled over here, that's the B wave. Now it wants to make 5 waves to the upside, to where it eventually ended up there. And we can see them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 at the top there. And that is
and by the size of 1, 2, 3, 4, you knew that the size was not going to take you all the way to 25,000.
It had to make a similar size wave, either to a double top or back down.
You know what? Like I've hated Elliott Place my whole life with a passion. I wasn't happy to hear that.
I know. We even had a brief discussion the other day. I want to tell your viewers, we had a brief discussion over lunch the other day, and I said, Tone, I don't want to be like an asshole, but I need to tell you about Elliott Waves, man, because you're really prejudiced. And Tone said it's bullshit and carried on eating his green curry, you know. So I wanted to show you. However, in Bitcoin, this is not reliable, because Bitcoin is over-emotional, driven by fear, driven by greed, and sometimes these Elliott waves don't form. But I had a high suspicion, maybe I wanted in my heart of hearts, for it to stop there, because I did not feel the correction was over after that initial wave down. So when we then started getting signals at the smaller time frames, which unfortunately now we can't pull up,
Oh, no, we could.
From there-
Yeah, no, I have it here. You're 1 hour.
yes, can we zoom
didn't
out
close
to oh great,
Yeah,
can we
can I-
zoom out to show that?
You want to zoom in?
Zoom out so that we get more price, more price candles. I mean to say contract.
Oh, you want to contract it?
Yeah.
Right.
Right, there we can see it.
Hold on. I can squish these guys.
You can pull this down a little bit.
Hold on a second here.
Is this gonna like squish it on my trading view forever?
No. I have no control of your
Oh,
trading
great.
view. That's why I couldn't change the time zone, the
Right.
time increment.
Right. So if you can just pull this down a little bit, that'll.
Yeah.
There we see the top of that wave, right? If you can flash for the audience over there.
Well, in 1 second here. Let me get rid of this mess.
That's right.
And should I zoom in a little more?
No, this is fine. So from the top,
Right here.
we see a 20-50 period move,
Crossover, right
MA
there.
crossover, which means that the advance is possibly over, right?
Mm-hmm.
And shortly after that, at the same time, the 15-minute chart was decompressing the MAs to the downside, and the 4-hour chart quickly went bearish. And that's how we knew it was not going to carry on. So in terms of counting the waves, which you might say you don't like that idea, and a lot of people say, well, it's it's kind of a bumblefuckery. What is that counting waves? In this case, it helped because we were patient enough to say, well, be cautious now and don't expect. I was saying, let's wait and see what happens. Come out of this trade and wait. So according to our method, we did get out and we entered a short trade shortly after. It happened to be a losing trade because it was from there to there. If you can flash the audience. We thought it went long again.
Oh, 1 second. Hold on.
From this peak.
Right here.
From there.
Right.
That seemed to be.
Did you short here?
We did not short there.
You were just short here?
We started shorting here.
Oh, you started shorting here.
Yes, sorry, I said we went long. We started shorting there.
And you got stopped out over here.
It very quickly smashed down.
Right.
And stopped us out at break even.
Back here.
Back there. You see? Yeah. So then we were out. And the next short trade we took was at that.
But you were able to make up for it on the next short over here when they crossed. We talked about that earlier.
That's right.
Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha. And you have this channel drawn in, and it seems to be doing fairly well.
I guess. Yeah, I guess. This gray line, yeah. I think what is interesting to me, Tone, is that our methods are completely different. You're using time sequence, and you're studying the candles. I tend to not look at candles. Yes, I do notice dojis. Yes, I do notice dragonflies and hanging men and shooting stars and all of that. But my method is dictated. The decisions are made not on the candle, but on the moving average crosses and compression and decompression. And even so, our moments of saying get out of trades and of determining trend between the two of us always correspond, and so do our targets. So to me, that shows that sound technical analysis, doesn't matter what method you use, if you apply it consistently and you've back tested it, it will always yield the same results, right?
Yeah. No, that's actually great to hear. All right, guys. So this concludes the price. Oh, look, we're breaking down some more. So, I mean, I'm again, we both have a target at 7,500 right now, and here's my 4-hour chart. You hit a 9, and next candle gets you in a short trade if you're not in it already, with a 2 trading below a 1, and the next candle is going to be in 5 minutes, and we're probably still going to be online. Let's go back to camera for a minute, even though it might be a little too dark.
Now we might be.
Well, let's see how it works out, because the camera has a little bit of a light. Oh, there we go.
That's
not bad at all.
Is that the light from the
Yeah,
laptop?
we got a light from the lab. We got a light from the laptop. We got a light from the camera. We got some light here. So that's good. Oh, so someone asked me, how come I don't minimize the camera and then still show screen? Google Hangouts doesn't do that. That makes it a little bit difficult. I'd have to either pre-record and then we're not live, hence no live chat. Also, I could use different software to go live with, but that becomes a pain in the ass. I got to record in other software. I got to stream that through YouTube. And anyway, it's more work for me. So be happy we're live streaming at all. So the last thing I was going to talk to you about before we end this, because we've been going on almost an hour, is so what is your view on altcoins and in relation to Bitcoin? And how do you think, how do you see the current environment in regards to altcoins, ICOs, and all of what I consider nonsense?
The things that you call scams and nonsense and these same things, when we say look at the obvious targets, the Ethereums and Ripples and things, when, strictly speaking, they are cryptocurrencies, right? They fit the definition because it's a digital currency running on a blockchain. But that is not all that makes Bitcoin a cryptocurrency. The reason why Bitcoin has value, why its price goes up, and why people find it useful is because Bitcoin is decentralized and it is censorship resistant. And all of that is achieved through a development method and a peer-to-peer network where the network is seeking consensus to itself constantly, and the developers, the development of Bitcoin is based on consensus. In other words, an overwhelming majority of participants want the change. Otherwise, there can't be a change. That is very different from having a coin with a board of directors who pay salaries to developers to do certain things.
Take a cut of the mining revenue for it.
Take a cut of the mining revenue for it. They insider trade it.
Of course.
You know, so these things are clearly scams, and they are clearly no good for us to hold, because we're going to wake up in the morning one morning, the sun might be shining, everything else might be full, but that thing is going to be at zero. And this is a wave happened because of the ICO bubble that corresponds to the .com bubble, exactly the same conditions. We're going to find that these coins, these ICOs and these scam coins get targeted by the SEC, by Venzen, by various regulatory bodies and authorities, and this is going to suddenly turn the whole thing sour. I do not hold an altcoin. If I do, it's by accident because I wanted to send a cheap transaction with Litecoin.
But that's starting to end, right? With Lightning, and the mempool is already empty. It's a really short-term problem.
That problem was never really a problem. It was a growing pain that needed to be there.
But you send crypto remittance back to your family in South Africa.
I did.
Right. So you end up in a situation, man, I got to get money to my family. I can't pay a $50 transaction fee.
If I send, say, an imaginary amount like $1,000 to somebody in another country, say to my family, then I am willing to pay $50 or $100 for it to get there so that they can be well. And I'm happy to give it to the miners. I'm happy to give it to the Bitcoin network. I'm happy to spend money because it's my need at the time. And I know in the future it won't be $1,000 because Lightning will be there.
Anything else you want to add? We've gone about an hour, which is perfect. This particular podcast series is about an hour. Any closing thoughts? Just remind people once again. I mean, you do have a Twitter. I don't think you use it very often.
I don't really use my Twitter. I use it to criticize Roger Ver and the big blockers who's still coming out the woodwork. People can see me on Twitter. I've got a YouTube.
Venzen on Twitter.
Venzen on Twitter. Venzen on YouTube. Oh, I think YouTube is cryptocurrency. And that's the name of my website, cryptocurrency.net.
Yeah, so your website, your YouTube channel, during my video description, I did not have your Twitter handle in there, but right. But there was a tweet from it. I'm back retweeting you in there. So, but I'll add your Twitter handle to the video description as well.
All right.
Anything else? Any final thoughts?
Anything else is
You know what? Let me see if there's a question from the audience. How about that?
Let's
All right, guys. I'm looking at the live chat right now. It's a little bit behind, so you probably will hear me say this in a few minutes, like a minute from now. Just start with the capital word question or ping me in the name. If you got any questions for Venzen, I'm more than happy to answer them. Or I'm more than happy to ask him the questions. I talk enough. I may not be coming to South Africa. I got a bit of a visa, passport situation. So
MA.
Yeah.
Somebody's asking if I use EMA or MA. I use simple moving average.
You use simple moving averages.
The simpler, the better.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, good question. That was good. That was actually a very good question. Thank you for that. I may not be coming to South Africa, guys. I'm going to be in DC. I'm going to see if I can get my hands on a business passport. Long story, if that's even possible. But I don't know. I got to figure out my visa situation here. All right. Any other questions? Show my hair. I don't have any hair. Venzen
Why
has hair.
the guys want to know about hair every time, man? Guys, talk sense, man.
People want to know where you are from South Africa, but you haven't. When was the last time you were even in South Africa?
I was there
4 years, 3 years?
4 or 5 years ago. The last time. It's easier to bring my family here.
Yeah, to Thailand.
We're based all over South Africa as a family. We're in Cape Town. We're in Pretoria. We're in the Marico, and we're in Cape Town. So I come from an extended family that's all over the country, guys.
All right, question. Have you seen me smoke weed while we've been hanging out here in Thailand?
I saw somebody offer Tone weed, and then somebody else called me, so I cannot say that I saw him smoke it. I did not see him smoke it.
Oh, man. All right. Next. When do you think we're going to hit 7,500?
I believe that we could hit it within the next week.
Wow. Wow.
It's not far. It's right there. It's right there.
Right, guys. So, hold on a second. I'll do a quick screen share, guys, since it just happened. So, basically, right now, I know it's a stretch, and there was definitely a short play off of this arrow, off of this combination. But if you missed this short play on the 4-hour, off of a 9, remember, my metrics on a 9, a 1 to 4 candle correction, then reevaluate. However, there were definitely abilities to short off of that 9 and trend line. And there was another stab at a short right here because the 2 has just started trading below the 1. It's a little bit late. You're a little bit late on this particular short trade, about 200-300 bucks too late. But it's still there because this arrow goes all the way to the bottom of the triangle. All right. So just a quick thing, only because the candle flipped over. All right. But let's go back to.
Keep it there, Tone. Can I quickly add something? Sure. You know, in trading, you know it. I know it. Many people know it, and we must always reiterate this point. There is not only one scenario. There's no way that Tone and I can predict what will happen exactly, because we do not have crystal balls. We're saying what we're saying based on our experience, which is measuring probability of outcome, right? So yes, price can go down to 7,500 today or tomorrow. I reckon within the next week. But there is also a scenario where price bounces off the bottom of this triangle, climbs out of it, and goes back to 14,500, that area that we looked at the top of the bigger triangle, before coming back down. That would complicate matters. Get the market into a much more complicated correction here near the top, or near that top of 14,000, closer to the top. But right now, everything is pointing towards continuing decline. That's the dominant scenario, right?
Yes. All right, let's quickly get back to questions because the chat scrolls
Guy wants to
quickly.
know what happened to the black.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that.
You were smiling.
Okay.
Barbosa.
So, what was I gonna say here? So people want to know how to join your site. Just go to his website, check it out. You don't take on everyone that wants to join. You actually find out what that person's trading experience is. You find out what they're looking for. You're looking for seasoned traders. Like young guys that trade altcoins is not.
It's not going to help them.
It's not gonna.
They're going to spend $100 of their money and not really gain much. As Tone always says, looking at his educational section, Learn Trading, you better be an expert in numbers 1 to 5, before we get down to actually doing trades in the market.
So you don't want rookies. You want people that know how to trade.
I want people who've already been through your course and your seminar of trading, who have got some experience and who are patient and not hungry for money, to slowly get there.
Gotcha. Yeah,
slowly, one trade at a time, maybe 20 or 30 a year, and that's it. And that's my audience, and those are the people who will benefit.
That's one of the reasons why I respect Venzen's work. Do you trade any other markets besides Bitcoin?
I do not, purely because Bitcoin is demanding enough, and it's a lot of work, so I don't.
But you used to trade. What did you trade before Bitcoin?
Before Bitcoin, I traded. One of my favorites was gold, because I was a bit of a gold bug.
In futures, ETFs, or options?
I was trading gold as a CFD.
CFD. Okay.
Yeah, and
because you were in South Africa, you didn't really have access to the U.S. markets. You had to
there was no
it in a
CME
quasi way.
Yeah, there was no CME or
Correct.
CBOE.
Correct.
So we used to use brokers to get at the price. The other thing I did was trade the indices, which are stock markets.
ETFs.
Yeah, S&P, Dow, the South African stock market, the Australian stock market, because these are markets one can kind of understand and trade with leverage, right? But once I discovered Bitcoin, I did not any longer see a need to trade those. I could focus on a highly volatile and prolific market, a profitable market.
Okay, so are you familiar with Gartley formations? Because I am not.
Tone, I think you are. I'm familiar with them. They also call them butterfly
patterns,
and they talk about harmonics. You see?
Yeah, in my Learn Trading, there's butterflies, there's bats, and there's crabs, right?
There's a crab and there's a shark fin and there's a.
And I refer to them as creature patterns, and I don't really care for them.
No, I'm sure that they're useful. I'm sure that they're useful. But it's just not in my toolkit, right? And what I've got, I don't need to have everything in my toolkit. I've got 5 tools in there and they work great. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
It seems like everyone's spoken and asked who would have done.
All right. So here's a question for you, because I've answered this before. If we use Litecoin for better fees, is it not better than Bitcoin in the long term? Try to make it short, because I know this could be very long-winded.
Yes, no, there is a long answer and a short answer. The short answer is no. Litecoin is not better than Bitcoin in the long term, because the brain power, the development, the network, everything is with Bitcoin, and Bitcoin has got SegWit, which is enabling Lightning Network, which is going to change, which is going to revolutionize Bitcoin for the 3rd time once again. Yes.
All right, next. Any scenario in which you see Bitcoin like going up tomorrow and not, like any scenario in which Bitcoin has already bottomed off of the current trend?
No, I do not see it. There might be a 0.1% chance that this can happen, but I don't see it. I don't see everything, but I don't see that.
So you definitely see 7,000 before 20,000.
Definitely. I would bet money on it. If there was an option for that, I would bet short.
Let's see what else we got. Oh wait. Oh, I hate when that happens.
Somebody asked me a question, but no problem. You
Yeah, the thing is, the
passed me.
chat scrolls fast. No,
It's fast. It's
it
fast, guys.
jumps down a lot, and then I gotta scroll all the way.
I will read through. Is it possible to read through this after the fact?
No, because there's only a limited. You could, but only like the last, I don't know, 1,000 messages or so, like 500 messages, something like that. Hold on a second here. Oh, yeah, okay, so we were on this part. Yeah, we got that part.
Venzen, do you use moon strategy with zodiac signs?
Here it is.
Only moon.
Okay, here we go. You told a few weeks ago that Wall Street messed up their charts because they excluded the weekends.
Bloomberg did.
Right. Did you consider that they maybe just resync their charts with the public data charts? No, they're skipping the weekends, guys. They have to adjust their freaking index.
Somebody asked me if I'm so high that I had to really think of $100.
He's not smoking weed, guys.
Maybe I'm so high that everything's slow, and I would pay $100 and $1,000 remittance. I would. If the money needs to go to somebody now, I would pay $100 and not cry about it. It's not going to be the case forever because of lightning.
Do you use zodiac signs in your moon strategy?
Maybe I should, and maybe I will, but right now I don't. Only the moon.
Well, someone says, who has a better trading site, me or Venzen? We're very different. Venzen focuses on, he has a subscription site that focuses on entering the perfect trade with his followers. My site is strictly educational. So we're there's no comparison nor competition here. All right. Do you see a bounce after the drop? Yeah, of course we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We were wondering whether 10,000 would act as a support for a while, and then maybe 7,500 or 5,000 will act as support. Something like that.
I've been really avoiding this question. Because I keep being asked, what's your price expectation for the end of the year? I've been avoiding it. I can't answer that right now. I just can't. I'm sorry, guys.
If I answer that and I go on record, people say he said that, and I'm completely wrong, I would look like a fool. There's no technical indication.
Dude, I have an amazing out for this, right? So for some reason, on like the first of the year, Cointelegraph published this big graphic of like important people, like 5 or 6 of them, and what they see for the price of Bitcoin in 2018.
Yeah.
And they have me on there as 5 people that I said it was going to be $100,000 in 2018.
And you said that?
I never said that.
You never said that.
But it was printed. But I never actually said it. So if it happens, I was right. And if it doesn't happen, I can say I never said it.
You can ask them to redact it.
It's great.
Yeah.
I have a perfect
guys, there's no way looking at the chart now to say what's going to happen in 9 months' time. It's even difficult to say what's going to happen tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's no technical indication of what's going to happen at the end of the year. I would say we'll still be between 10,000 and 20,000.
Oh, okay. This is a good question, actually. So the Wall Street futures mature tomorrow, and it's a cash-traded future. I'm already on record that the futures are having very minimal effect on the price of Bitcoin. And the futures had a huge effect in the traders.
That's the thing.
And right now, I haven't heard anything from Wall Street about the futures. The volume is small, and it's cash settled. Because it's cash settled, there is no physical delivery. There's no threat of moving the Bitcoin on expiration, and the leverage on the CME futures and the CBOE futures is so small.
Oh, 3 times and
3x.
whatnot. Yeah.
Like I see absolutely no. I don't see Wall Street futures affecting the price of Bitcoin at all.
No, it doesn't.
Do you agree?
And I agree 100%. The effect is psychological. That's why we went to 20,000, because everyone was so excited, and fear of missing out, because now Wall Street is cradling our baby, and everyone was so excited, and they pushed the price too high, and now we're suffering the hangover of that, right? if I can put it a different way or reiterate what you're saying this way, if a like say let's talk about BitMEX, right? BitMEX delivers your Bitcoin. You're trading the BitMEX futures at the end of the week. You get when it expires or it delivers, you get Bitcoin. It's a physical delivery. You don't get paid out dollar. Is that true for BitMEX?
No, you don't get paid out dollars. It's just Bitcoin. It's futures settled in everything is Bitcoin.
Everything.
Right? They don't touch fiat at all. They don't even do tether.
You see, so it's Bitcoin settlement. It's settled
right
in the underlying. CBOE and CME, they are doing cash settlement. So there's no delivery of the actual product. So there's no Bitcoin transaction for when somebody opens or closes their CBOE futures trade. There's no Bitcoin transaction. It's just a dollar transaction based on the Bitcoin price as an arbitrary measure. It could have been the price of fuel, right? It could have been the price of sweeties. There's no actual sweeties being bought with the cash settled futures.
Right.
So there's no effect, no physical effect, no real effect. There's a psychological effect, and that's past.
Right. That's always been my view. That's always been my view. It's like the reason why the futures affect gold so much is because that's price discovery due to threat or legit physical delivery. And the reason why the futures do not affect the S&P 500 is because it's cash settled.
It's cash settled.
Right.
There's no, it doesn't touch the underlying ever.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so do you think that the Bitcoin price will drop below the 200-day moving average? I'm assuming you know in your head where that is.
I know where that is. It's at 7,500.
We both hope that it doesn't. Let's put it that way.
It can spike below it, and
for like a day or two, nothing substantial.
I was even thinking for hours, and then it's gonna pull up above it again. But I do believe there's a possibility to go below it.
If it's stuck below it for a week, how ugly will things get?
Things can get very ugly because mining production costs are down there somewhere. We disagree about the exact mining production costs, but they below 7,500.
Mostly because neither one of us has any real idea of how much it costs to produce a Bitcoin.
So let's not argue about it. Let's not speculate about it. But it's down there, right? It's not at 7,500 per Bitcoin.
Right.
Yeah. And there's a pattern for Bitcoin in a large correction to return to mining production.
But even from a technical analysis perspective, I mean, going below 7,500, I mean, 1,300 becomes my next drop. I mean, I'm as confident that 7,500 will reverse the price as I am that if it doesn't, 1,300 is the next likely outcome.
My goodness, that is a rough prediction, but technically it is possible. I wouldn't like to see that.
Oh no, nobody would. I would. I might have to move out here to Thailand and join you.
Come hide out for a while.
It'll be the only place I can afford. Thailand, Vietnam, and Ukraine.
I would say it's possible for the sentiment to get so negative against Bitcoin that it sells down to there. You know, because Bitcoin doesn't sell down there because people are shorting it with big smiles on their faces. Price goes there because people are angry at Bitcoin and they're resentful of Bitcoin because they mortgaged their house. And now look what you've done to me, Bitcoin. You see, that's how the selling, that's how the horrible selling happens. And technically it's possible because we've got weekly moving averages down at 1,000. Yeah.
That's true. That actually is true. Yeah. Okay, someone from South Africa is watching us. They're asking, where did you learn trading? I know you mentioned it earlier. I don't know if you want to say
Smiley,
it again.
and I learned everything I know, I taught myself. And I learned from a website called Forex Factory, where there are various threads, and especially if you dig back in the past, in the early 2000s, there are traders tired and who pass on their knowledge in terms of this is what support and resistance is. This is how you read this indicator. This is what divergence is. You can learn all of that at a website called babypips.com, but you're better off paying for one of Tone's seminars and learning the thing from somebody you can ask questions. You see on those old forum threads, those kind of salty dog traders, man, some of them have died, some of them don't respond. You really need to do courses where you learn the rudiments and then you go and apply it. And the way you learn in the market is by making mistakes. In a lot of life, I guess, you learn by making mistakes. The only kickback, the caveat of market trading is you pay for your mistakes with money, right? So learning trading in the market, as a new trader, you've got to play with very small amounts of money. I'm talking about $100 because you're going to lose it. I can promise you're going to lose it. You're going to lose it 10 times. You're going to lose it 1,000 times. Lose small money and learn from your mistakes. And you will know when you're ready, when you can consistently win and double $100 to $200 and double $200 to $400, then you know you're ready to trade, right? With serious money.
All right, guys. I think we're gonna leave it here. That's pretty much. I think there was one more question, but I kind of missed it already. But yeah, check out Venzen's site. All of the info is in the description of this video earlier, where I pulled up his site. So check it out. Check out his work. Yeah, we are gonna leave it here. Thank you for your questions. They have been very good. And we'll see you all on the next one. I'll try and do another video tomorrow.
Can I say one last thing? First of all, thanks, Tone, for having me.
Thanks for inviting me here. It's been great.
And for giving me the exposure, because I've never been really public since I stopped writing into 2015.
And that was before all this craziness happened with trading. There wasn't that many of us back then.
Yeah, and Bitcoin was like $200, you know, for the longest time. So thanks for having me, and thanks for coming over. I think we'll be making plans to do this again.
Oh yeah, no, I'm definitely coming back here. This is awesome. All right, guys, thank you for watching. It's time for us to go do one more round, and it's my last night here, and I'll be shooting from tomorrow evening somewhere else. It's still in Thailand, though. Talk to you all on the next one.